everyone, this is Tracey from Lavinia Stamps and welcome to another demonstration today. We're going to be using the Yupo card and our alcohol inks. And we're going to be using the lift technique again onto the Multifarious card. So I'm only going to be working with two colours today, and that's butterscotch and oregano, just to show you what you can achieve in basically just two colours. I want a subtle background, nothing too vivid, which is why I've chose the colours I have. So starting with the butterscotch, just going to drop that down and add our blending solution, and then just start moving that colour around. And then using the air dryer, I'm just going to sort of move the colours around as I'm drying them, just to create these lovely sort of waves, this sort of smoky effect. Okay, so I'm going to work my way up over the card now using the same technique. I'm going to use the blending solution along the edge because it's quite a harsh edge, so just move that around. And that's the beauty of the Yupo paper and alcohol inks, you can just keep on working with them. If you don't like something, you can change it. Such a fabulous technique that's so enjoyable to do. I just love it. I know I keep saying this, but it's so much fun to do. Okay, so I could go on for hours and hours just showing you how you can keep on moving it and working with it, but I don't want to bore you to death, so I'm going to move on. Okay, I'm going to use the alcohol lift ink now, and all I'm going to do is just draw a line of that along the top and then drag that down with the brayer, and then take an impression with some of our Multifarious card. I can grab a piece from over here. Pays you to be organised when you're doing videos, something I'm not very good at doing, I'm afraid. Okay, so here we go, alcohol lift ink. So just a line of that across the top. I hope you can see how much I'm pouring on, and then simply take that over the top and then pop this straight on after. Now you need to be quite quick with this, so it does pay to be organised to a degree. You certainly don't want to keep using the brayer over and over again on top of the Yupo, because it tends to move the colour. So 1 or 2 sweeps with the brayer and that is enough. Okay, let's see what we've got. And look at that, that's transferred really beautifully. So it's got that whole design, and as you'll know from the other videos that I've explained, you get brilliant effects on the Yupo, but when you want to stamp a silhouette it can be a little bit tricky. So this is why I use the Multifarious card, because this is obviously a matte card that's absorbent, so we can stamp silhouettes onto this. And this is why I love this technique, because you get the effect of the Yupo and you get to stamp your silhouettes onto the matte card. So if you haven't seen my previous videos explaining that, then if you rewind a few days, there'll be a video up there explaining more about this technique. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry now. It's almost dry now, but I'll just leave it a few minutes and then we'll come back and stamp directly onto the card. Okay, so that's lovely and dry now, ready for me to stamp onto. So we're going to be using the moon stamp today. We've had quite a few people message in on our social media asking me about how we stamp the moon, what we do with it. So I'm just going to show you one of the things that how I use it anyway. I think the moon can be a bit tricky at times. You've got to know your colours, on your tones really, on how you're stamping it. Because it's quite a dense stamp, when it comes to stamping another silhouette over the top, you don't want the moon to be too dark. In fact, I'll show you. It's probably far easier for me to show you than trying to explain. So if I was to take the Nocturne and ink up, let's bob one moon down here and then another. Okay, and then we're going to take a fairy. I have to excuse the state of my acrylic block here. I'm not the cleanest of workers. So inking up the fairy, I'm going to stamp this one over the top of the moon. and then I'm going to stamp this one over the top of the moon. Okay, so you can see from how I've stamped that out, that's the second impression on the moon, and you see how much more the silhouette stands out. On this one, we've lost her completely, and that's because we're black on black, basically. So I hope that explains why I stamp off first. Now, in saying all of that, I'm going to use a different colour completely to stamp the moon today. So we have Glamorous, which is what I'm going to use to ink up our moon. Now I am going to stamp off still and then pop that down. Good press, get all that lovely detail. And there we have it. Okay, so now I can ink up my fairy in black. This is the Nocturne. Okay, and then I'm going to pop her down in the centre of the moon. Give that a nice long rest on your card. She's a silhouette, so it's always worth a little bit of patience. And there we go. Now you can see how much more that stands out. And again, with it being a slightly different colour as well, I think it stands out even more. So, okay, so we have got a little bit of acetate here. Doesn't quite fit the moon, but near enough. And we're going to take the Shady Lane, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a edge It would of course be far better for you to get an acetate that actually fits better than what I've done here, but you get the general idea of what I'm trying to achieve anyway. That's not bad, that's okay. It just makes it stand out that little bit more as well. Okay, so I'm going to now ink up some foliage, and we're going to go back to the Shady Lane. And we're going to put some lovely lunar buds at the bottom. I do love this stamp, it's one of my favourites, one of my go-tos. Okay, and then finishing off with some words, and I'm going to stamp those in Glamorous. So I do love pinks and greens together. I think they look fab. But, you know, of course, you guys, you can use whatever colours you like. Okay, so I'm going to use the Glamorous now just to go around the edge, just to finish off. And this kind of pulls it all together. So you've got lovely pinks going on, you've got that green smoky background, and it's all really quite achievable and quite quickly as well. Okay, so lastly, well, two more things actually. I'm going to use my glitter pen. I'm just going to colour her wings just to give a little bit of a sparkle. This Jelly Roll pen, the glitter one, is just fabulous because it's a transparent glitter, so it means you can still see the image underneath. But it gives us a really lovely sparkle. I hope you can see that under the camera. Okay, and now I'm going to use our glue pen just to go around the edge of the moon. Now, if you're not confident to sort of draw around the edge, you can always just dot really, really closely together, and by the time you've put your glitter on, you won't really notice whether it's a line or dots. So that's just another little tip if you're not confident to draw that following that curve. I'll just do a little bit of both. There we go. Okay, so I've got a little bit of holographic glitter here that I'm going to just sprinkle around the edge now. It's a fabulous sparkle on this. It's quite a coarse glitter, but I think that's why you get such a good sparkle. And there you go. Hope you can see that, guys. It's I put it against a white sheet. It stands out a little bit more then. Well, I really hope you enjoyed the demo. I certainly enjoyed doing it, and thank you so much for joining me. It's always good to hear what you say to me on the social media. I love reading your comments. In fact, we all love reading your comments here at Lavinia Stamps, so please keep in touch, and thanks once again for joining me. You take care and see you real soon. Bye for now.